Some of these plans show a website where I used to have all my plans and carvings shown, but it's no longer in existence, so you don't need to try and find it there. And if you're interested in some plans and blanks, I do have some left over from the last class that I taught. Email me. How to lay out and cut the plier joints. And the pliers are made out of one piece of wood, and you cut the joint to release the wood. I'm also going to show you a little bit about the hitchhiker. When I made these Z blocks, I just made them real simple, enough to hold the pliers. I marked the 3/16 and the 1/4 inch here, and then I drilled this hole and I filled it with wax, and it's nice to run your blade in through the wax. So when you push it in, it's a plunge cut. It's sometimes difficult to get it through. And the wax will make it slide through, and it also lubricates the joint, so when you're done cutting it, it's got wax in there, so it'll work easily. That's how I make the Z block. First thing I do is I find 3/16, and I made this knife. It's a plunge knife out of a saber saw blade, and I got one side marked 1/4 and the other side marked 3/16. When I put the 3/16 down, the blade is 3/16 from the Z block. If I put the 1/4 inch down, it's a 1/4 inch. Now on the block, I have 3/16 marked, and I'll use my finger as a guide, and I'll find the 3/16, and then I'll put a 3/16 mark on my pliers for that plunge cut, both sides. Then I need to take this dotted line and extend it across to the center. The dotted line indicates hitted from here to here. And then this solid line, and it comes down to this part. You do the same thing on the other side. The dotted line goes across there, and the solid line goes to there. That's the detail. Now you got to transfer what's on the front to the back. Solid from here to here, dotted from here to there. It's dotted from here to there, and it's solid from here to here. And that's the layout. Now here's one that's cut. You can see it. Solid. After you lay it out, take your knife, and I use the 3/16 for this cut. And you push it in and rotate it until it comes out the other end. And these, you have to cut it in to here and all the way around to here. And it should be able to move your knife if it's cut. Turn it over. Do the same thing on the other side. This one's already cut, so it's pretty easy to do. But that's step number one. First of all, you get this cut. Then you got to come back, and I'll usually mark 3/16 depth. And then you got to cut in here down 3/16. Just plunge it in all the way across. And then you do the same thing here. Plunge it in all the way across. And I'll usually come back and I'll run the knife in this way to clean it up. I have my knives so it comes out just flush. That's cut number 2, both sides. You're going to do this too. Plunge it in this way, all the way across, clean it up. Then your last cut is this dotted line cut, and it's a plunge cut. And you got to plunge it in, and it'll come out on the inside. And then you turn it over and you plunge it in this way, and it'll come out on the inside. And you got to work it. You make sure that it comes all the way up to this cut here. And this cut, you got to make sure that it goes all the way up to there and out to there and around. The same thing there. You do that on the both sides for this cut. And then you have to keep going back and forth. Got to redo these until you get it to come apart. After it comes apart, then you can start carving it. And the carving is very simple. It's the joint that's hard to get. Now the reason I have the 1/4 inch is because I mark a 1/4 inch, and on the hitchhiker, the young lady, I use a 1/4 inch in the front. So that's a 1/4, and that's 3/16. And the reason I use the 1/4 inch here is because we need room for the boobs. So, and I don't make them both 1/4 inch because when this center part gets really skinny, they get weak. And when you get to the point where you're trying to get it apart, you can pry it again a little bit, stick your knife in and twist it a little bit. But if you jerk on it hard, you're going to break it. And they'll usually break off right through the center there. So anyways, just pull it, and if it's not coming apart, go ahead and recut everything. And then after, sometimes they'll hit, this corner will hit there. So check for that, because that'll keep it from opening. This one's not hitting. So that's how I cut them.